Hey everyone, welcome back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. I'm Slim, and we had some technical issues with our Deadpool and Wolverine episode. So today we have a special show for you. We will be back in a couple of weeks with new content, but for now, we're giving you a few of our favorite moments from the first season and one from our bonus show. In this first clip, you'll hear our intro, and we discuss how we both started gaming, and Black talks about one of the most frustrating games he's ever played. Episode 1, the intro. One of the things that I found was teach my daughter to be a gamer. So there you go. I learned to have somebody to game with, and it's like, hey, what are you doing? We're just playing video games. That kind of bite me in the butt now, though, because now that my daughter wants to play certain games, I'm like, look, I don't feel like I have have a lot of time to do it, different things like that here and there. But it's pretty funny, just when you're supposed to be taking care of your kid. I've got pictures with my daughter sitting there gaming with me. I got a picture where she's like laid out on the couch and she's like really tiny before she can even hold a controller. But I was sitting there gaming, so. Um, but I fell in love pretty much similar like to Dion with the Nintendo, but I can say what really got me into gaming was an Atari. So did you ever have an Atari?
I did have an Atari. Um, it was so. I mean, you talk about throwback. You went all the way
Yeah,
back.
right.
I thought NES. I thought I was back, but you're all the way back.
Hey, I mean that's what a lot of people our age, that's what we started with, an
Yeah.
Atari.
Yep.
There's other people, they've had like ColecoVision and other things.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
So here's a funny thing, being I don't want to say poor, but not being able to get things right away, waiting a little bit, sometimes getting secondhand stuff. Um, one of the systems we got when I was a kid, it wasn't even like a fully gaming system. It was called a TI Basic. And so what a TI Basic was, it was like almost like a word processor. And I really, if you get a chance, look it up
Right.
because it's like a long keyboard
Mm,
and it's got a cartridge thing on the side, and then you hooked it up to a television.
mm,
And so you would actually have different kind of cartridges to put in there,
mm.
and you could actually control it, connect a controller up to that little keyboard thing, and that was another way that we had gaming. So the TI Basic, is just like I said, it's just a gaming system, keyboard, cartridge, controller that you hook up,
Mm,
and it had a couple of games. The games aren't coming to mind right now,
mm.
but when we didn't have the Atari, that was another way that we got stuck in the game.
Mm.
We just loved it that much, and you know, we were of that age where we were the go outside kids. We went
Mhm.
outside and played, but on rainy days, on days that we weren't allowed to go outside, on days that we just didn't feel like going outside,
Mhm.
we picked up a controller and was gaming.
Oh, yeah.
So you know, Nintendo, that was a big thing for us.
Oh, yeah.
We really was really into Nintendo. Our very first Nintendo was later than everybody, but it was better because we ended up getting the Power Pad. That was our first Nintendo.
Wow. You got the power pad?
Yes, yes.
We didn't get the power pad till, like, later on,
Uh-huh.
but it was that's awesome that you guys started out with power pad.
Yeah, the Power Pad. For people listening who don't know what the Power Pad
Man.
is, all it was a plastic mat. Um, it was one of the first things in the haptics.
Mhm.
Plastic mat. Think Dance Dance Revolution,
Yep.
but in your home. It's
Mm.
a mat, had two sides. One was aerobics. One had a whole bunch of numbers on it, and you know, on that numbers, it had two sides, so you can actually like race against people in a lot of games, and you had different little things you could do.
Mm.
Well, that was a great way to get exercise until you realize you could actually just play with your hands. So when we were kids, we would get down and just like tap stuff with our hands to
Yeah.
try to beat the other person and get faster.
Yeah.
But it was still fun.
Yeah, it was,
It
it
was
was.
still
It
fun.
was a great way to to stay active while you're gaming,
Yeah,
physically
yeah,
active.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
tell me, did you ever have the Power Glove?
Yes,
You did.
I did
You
have the
did.
Power Glove, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of, you know, I'm getting a bit off topic here, but if you ever seen, of course, you've seen the of course the movie. I can't believe I can't say it right now. Marvel movie Glove.
Oh yes, Infinity War.
Infinity.
It was like Infinity Glove.
That glove gave you that feeling,
Mhm.
like you were what was it?
Thanos.
Thanos. Like you were Thanos, and you had the Power Glove. Excuse me, because
You know you're making
my comic book skills is
I was gonna
bad.
say
Bad.
you're about to make a bunch of geeks cry right now. Man. Just saying
I
that.
can't believe it. He
A million
doesn't
people
know
are
his name.
screaming. No, it's all good. It's all good.
I said, but hey, excuse me, I'm
Not a
Chris
big
over
fan,
here.
man.
He's the master comic book guy. Me, now you ask me for the name of a game from 1998, I probably know it.
Not a master comic book guy, but I love comics too. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
into comics. But yeah,
But
I get it. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
we got a little off topic, but that's the feeling that the Power Glove gave you. Like you controlled everything with that damn glove. I mean, you ever played Punch Out with that glove?
Yeah. So no. By the time we got the glove, we didn't have Punch Out. We had Punch Out early, but I think we either gave it to our cousin or something. I can't remember why we didn't have the glove.
Mm.
But I did play a lot of games with Power Glove. Power Glove was great, and he's right. It did give you like a powerful feeling,
Mm.
but as a kid, like you see something that gets you more hyped up than you
Mm.
think,
Yeah.
and then after you start using it, you're like, "Oh crap! I have my arm up in the air for 20 minutes and it hurts." So, and then there was a whole bunch of wires that was all around the TV, and you had
Yeah.
to stay within that box, keep it
Yep.
inside the box so it continue to work.
Yep.
But as a kid, it was so fun. You don't think about all that stuff till it's actually doing it, and you try to convince yourself like, "Yo, this is
Mm.
awesome,"
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
the funniest part. But yeah, I loved the Power Glove. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was so good that I kept it even after it broke, just so I can keep imagination, like that whole powerful feeling.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Yeah, when it stopped working for us, I just went ahead and cut the cord off and kept it. I was imaginative little kid. I was weird. I was really weird. So,
Hey, it nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you that much, man. But the Power Glove, boy, that brings me all the way back.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
So,
kids
what,
nowadays wouldn't have any idea.
well, I mean, we're getting closer to that Ready. You ever see Ready Player One?
No.
We're getting closer. You know what? I'm gonna need you to see that movie. But we're getting closer to that kind of reality
Mm.
because we're living in the times where we have virtual reality everywhere. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
I think I
People
believe I
have it at home.
not to cut you off, but I think I think I saw that preview, Ready
Mhm.
Player One.
Right.
It's like they're trying to survive in the actual game world.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So yeah, but I mean, it's a couple of different things too involved in that. But basically it talks about like just a general future where pretty much everyone in the future is living in what's called the oasis,
Mm.
and that is a video game world that people just immerse themselves in, and they have full haptic suits. They have the virtual reality goggles. One dude had a full virtual reality chair that keeps moving around and all. Is just crazy.
Oh wow.
But it's not as crazy anymore because we're almost living in that reality. You see all
Yeah.
these people doing virtual realities, on TikTok and
Yeah.
YouTube and things, and they actually have a whole like a running station in their houses and
Mhm.
stuff. So that's kind of the reality that we're moving to right now. So
It's exciting, believe it or not. I've always loved tech, and of course, that fits into gaming
mhm.
in many ways. So yeah, I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
You know,
So what other for the Nintendo? What other peripherals did you have? Like, did you have like the turbo stick and things like
well,
that?
I didn't have the turbo stick. The power pad and the glove was the most popular with us,
Hmm.
um, and I think that's the only accessories we actually had.
Okay.
Um,
Game
um,
Genie?
Game Genie, no, I never got it.
Really?
I always thought Game Genie was it took to I believe, because if I'm not mistaken, Game Genie was like a big cheap
Yeah, man.
a big yeah,
Yeah,
if I
man.
remember correctly, and I always thought Game Genie was like, well, I don't need Game Genie. I can beat this. It was fun for the guys who just was not committed to gaming, like mastering games.
Mhm.
But me back then, like Street Fighter,
Yeah.
big Street Fighter guy. You know,
Yeah.
so all the moves I would do, I would actually do the motions for.
Mhm.
And a lot of guys, develop cheat codes and stuff to do moves like the Dragon Punch easy or the Fireball easy.
Right,
I
yeah.
just Game Genie, I didn't really get into the Game Genie.
So I don't remember if we actually had it or not.
Mm,
I would have to call my brother and ask him, or find out for sure. I can't remember, but I remember we had it in our house, but I don't remember if it was ours. It
mm,
might have belonged to our cousin and stuff. We had a cousin who used to get like pretty much anything he wanted.
mm,
So like a lot of times we either play or trade and stuff with him, whatever. And
mm.
like when they come visit him, or I mean when they come visit us, or we go visit him, sometimes he'll let us borrow stuff here or there, and then we'll have it for like a year, and then we'll see him at Christmas, and then we'll give him his stuff back or something like that.
Yeah.
Just weird kid stuff that you trading stuff like that with
Mm,
family. So we had it, but we didn't have it a long time that in my memory. I could be remembering incorrectly, but it was cool.
mm,
But again, like you said, if you really wanted to master the games, you
mm,
didn't use it.
mm.
And I even had it for my Game Boy, which is funny. So that was pretty hilarious because there was a lot of games that were just seemed impossible, like Ninja Turtles. You ever play that game?
Yes. That is
How
the
far did you get?
absolute. I beat it.
You beat it.
I beat it.
How?
I beat it.
Without a Game Genie.
I beat it. I beat it without a Game Genie. And
How did you
I
swim
was
through the sewers?
I died so many times.
Mhm.
Um, I can remember restarting that game so many times. I got so annoyed with it that it was one of those games that because you annoyed me so much, I'm going to beat you and you're not going to stop me. And when I beat it, I took the cartridge and I burned it.
Wow.
That's how angry. That's how angry. What I took. I said my oldest brother. He was in the point where he was smoking cigarettes or whatnot, and I was still young. I couldn't get my hand on no matches. No, I said, hey, I need. Could you burn this for me? I asked him to burn it. He's like, what you want to burn a cartridge for, man? You crazy? I
That's
said,
funny.
this game has literally it's I beat it. I'm happy I beat it, but it annoyed me so much. I want it destroyed now.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. That is hilarious. That is no, I didn't even think about that. No, that's crazy though, man. But
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
couldn't I could not beat that without a Game Genie,
Yeah.
man.
I,
And
I
and
beat it.
and I used it, and it's so funny
Mm,
because I have that game on my PSP right there.
mm,
I have a modded PSP, so I got a whole bunch of games. I got Nintendo. I think I got some Genesis games on there,
mm,
different things like that.
mm,
I tried playing that game. I wanted to break my PSP. If that thing wasn't so valuable to me, I
mm.
probably would have thrown that PSP out the window, man. Because I did not realize how hard that game was until I tried to get to that part where you had to swim through. I think it was by the
You have
dam or
to
something.
you have
And
to diffuse the bombs,
yes,
and and
oh my
and
god,
and, and they got the electric seaweed or whatever the hell
right?
that
It's
you
just
know.
like, man, are you kidding me? Who created that thing, man? I thought the purpose of games is so kids will have fun. That wasn't
That
fun.
was not fun. That was the that what can make a child burn a video game cartridge? That's how I think whoever made that game was just sitting back and said, we have to figure out the most annoying. They already love Ninja Turtles, so they're gonna play it. The fact
Yeah.
that it's Ninja Turtles, they're gonna play it. But we need the most annoying Ninja Turtles game
Yes.
ever. The most hardest Ninja Turtles game ever.
But I do love the arcade
Oh yeah,
Ninja
of
Turtles.
course. Oh
Oh my
yeah, yeah,
gosh.
yeah. They're
I
classics.
used to spend so much time in the arcade just playing that game.
Yeah.
That game was the best, because just I don't something about the way you and your three friends
Mm-hmm.
and y'all could, just get on there and like all at the table, the
Mm-hmm.
sticks right there.
Yep.
That was dope. And when they brought it to was it I
What?
can't remember. It was either I don't think it was in regular Nintendo. I think it was Super
Super
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
When they brought it to Super
Yep.
Nintendo, man, I about lost my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, yeah. I loved it.
Oh
The
my
fact,
gosh.
that I remember all the Turtles games.
Mhm,
They had
mhm,
Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. They
mhm.
had they had the Turtles, the Tournament Fighters. Do you
Tournament
remember that? Do
Fighters.
you remember that?
I don't remember that.
You
No.
don't remember that? Oh
Oh,
my gosh,
Tournament
they
Fighters.
had the Tournament Fighters where they had all the Ninja Turtles. They had Shredder.
Mhm,
Uh, you could play as just characters from the actual Ninja Turtles universe
mhm.
and whatnot. It was made by Konami.
Okay.
Developed by Konami.
I don't remember it. I'm gonna have to actually look that one up because I honestly do not remember it. That's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. It was like a Street Fighter. As a matter of fact, Michelangelo had like a sort of like a dragon punch thing that he did with his nunchucks.
Well,
You know,
that was probably when was the release? Because that was probably when they were actually kind of doing that whole fighting game genres. Like
it,
everything,
it,
everybody was into the whole genre
it
since
could
then.
it could have been that it could have been that time where they were kind of everybody was trying to be like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
You know, because you seem
yeah,
like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat were going in at the same time.
and that kind of leads me to fast forward to the next generation consoles, Genesis and the Super Nintendo.
Hmm.
So I never got to play the Sega Master System. Well, no, let me say that. Let me correct it because I don't know if you remember at Heinz when we were at Heinz.
Mm.
Oh wait, how long did you stay at Heinz? Were you at Heinz
I
all
was
the way to
only
eighth
going
grade?
to have that our sixth grade, my sixth grade year.
Oh,
That was
you
that was
didn't
the
make it
only.
you didn't stay for
No,
the new Heinz. You
no,
made it to the new
they
Heinz.
where I was at, being that I was, living in the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they rezoned the schools. So when my seventh and eighth grade year, seventh, I found out I had to go to Huntington, which was
Oh,
right was in the dead of the downtown area.
okay,
So
okay.
it was the worst school ever.
Yeah,
I went from Hines to upscale to the worst school ever.
oh yeah. That's a whole nother thing. We used to talk about our schools another time.
Yeah.
But so when we got to seventh and eighth grade, I don't remember if they did this when we were in sixth grade, but I do remember in seventh and eighth grade, they kind of had like these dances, but they weren't really dances. Where they had this video game company, and there was this company that was in Denby that actually brought their video game system. They used to actually have like tournaments. They had a TV show. This dude calls a Mass Gamer. That everybody pretty much, if you knew the game, you knew the guy who actually. I'm not gonna say his name, but if you knew it, you knew who the Mass Gamer was. Because he actually went to high school with us. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, I'll tell you about him off there. But
Right.
but
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah. So they had this company come in and they actually like set up different game systems. So that was my first time ever playing the Master System. That was my first time ever playing the Neo Geo. So
Neo Geo.
yeah,
Yes, I remember
no
that.
one could afford a Neo Geo
Nobody could afford
because
a Neo Geo.
back then it was like what I think I don't even know if it was $1,000, but it seemed like it was $1,000.
Yeah, back then it was close to
It was
six to $700. If I'm not mistaken.
yeah, but like
It was
now
up
it's
there.
like a drop in the bucket for most people,
Pretty much.
But it's crazy, like back then. Our next clip is from the third episode. There's a little foreshadowing about some of the current superhero news, some discussion about bad movies, and Slim drops a truth bomb of his own. Episode 3, Game Screen to TV Screen.
It seemed like they were a lot more fierce. They
I
had a
know
lot more.
a lot of people I know actually prefer bad
Yeah.
guys. They like the bad guys in Star Wars. They like the bad guys in Harry Potter. Like the Slytherins. A lot of people like
Yeah.
Slytherins. Yeah, you don't know Harry Potter. We'll get to that
Yeah.
though. They like
I can't speak on that.
they like the super villains in a lot of the different movies. They go
Yeah.
for the like Brainiac,
Yeah.
Lex Luthor, Doctor Doom. Those kind of those
Doctor
kind of people.
Doom.
Yeah.
Doctor Doom. Not to get off topic because we are talking about games to movies, but Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is probably one of my most favorite villains in comic books.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks that because I'm not a big Fantastic Four guy,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks he comes from that particular comic. But
We can go into that. We can go
but
into that.
we'll
Not
go into
now.
that.
Yeah, we can go into
But
that
we'll go
later.
into that later
Because I do want to ask you more about comic books movies. So we can definitely talk about that. That's another one of different conversations that we can have. Um, I want to talk more. So, did you ever see the Super Mario Brothers original movie with John Leguizamo and I think it was Bob Hoskins? I want to
I
look this
did. I
guy's
didn't.
name
I
up.
didn't watch that movie because there's certain movies that I feel like if they make that movie out of a game, particular game, I just it depends on the game, and I'm like a Super Mario movie.
I watched it. I watched it because I knew it was going to be a bad movie, And to me, I went in there knowing how bad it was going to be, and it was surprisingly good and funny. But of course, that one is a perfect example of them trying to pull a storyline out of something, but it's so hard to do. So they failed, but they didn't fail
Mm,
because they kept to it. Like Koopa had, they had the pipes. They went through the pipes. They had Koopa Troopers. They had Goombas, different
mm,
things like that. They had Mario and Luigi. I can't remember a princess, but they did save a girl. I don't remember if she was like a princess or whatever. I think, uh, but they did save a girl. But I think Luigi was actually the one who like was into the chick or something like that. I can't
mm,
remember. But the way they did that, and then the way they had Bowser, they had Dennis Hopper as Bowser, and he like some kind of laser. He had like fake skin on or something like that to be so he could be Dennis Hopper instead of Bowser, and
mm.
it was insane. Somebody was definitely high when they actually did that movie. I'm serious. Like it was really seriously crazy, and I want to see what year that movie was from. I'll look that up in a second. But I enjoyed that movie because I didn't take it too seriously.
Mm,
So many people trash that movie, and here's my thing about especially video game movies and just movies in general.
mm,
There's always going to be a bad movie, but if you go into it knowing that it's going to be a bad movie, enjoy it for what it was. It was something
mm,
that wasn't created yesterday, that you did not see the day before.
mm,
And some people feel like they may have wasted their life watching that movie.
mm,
But honestly, what would you have been doing other than watching that movie the time you're doing it? If that's the case, if you know that movie's going to be bad, wait for that movie to come out on demand,
mm.
especially now. But back when we were kids, we didn't have on demand, but we had VHS tape.
Yep.
But we're talking about now.
Mm,
If you feel like that movie's gonna be bad, wait for it to come out on demand,
mm,
or wait for it to even come on regular TV and just watch it on TV while you're doing housework.
mm,
Sundays afternoons, Monday through Friday, whenever you're doing your housework, put that bad movie on because you
yep.
might actually find something in there that you like. You might find something funny. You might find something scary. You might find the next great actor that you've never seen before because some
True.
of these famous actors have actually started off in some really crappy movies.
Ridiculous movies.
But then again, too, there's some actors that start off on some great movies, and I'm about to do a little jump here. I didn't realize that I don't know why, but Jake Gyllenhaal, one of my favorite actors. Like
Mm,
and when I say favorite for him, I say it kind of loosely. I just really like the different characters he can play though,
mm,
and just how he does his characters.
mm.
He was in Donnie Darko. Have you ever seen that movie?
I want to watch Donnie Darko.
Hmm.
Really, I don't know why, but I developed an interest in watching that movie. I just hadn't got around to it yet. But Donnie Darko was supposed to be, it's somebody dressed up in like a rabbit and so like in a bunny
Yeah,
in a
well,
bunny rabbit
that's
costume.
kind of scary. And see that's the reason why I kind of went off on this little tangent
Mm,
because this is like it's kind of a mind twist,
mm,
and just the different things in that movie that happened, it left me like, "What the hell did I just watch?" And I
mm,
watched it again, I'm like, "Wow, this movie is just so freaking genius." Because there's
mm,
like a little time travel in that movie, but it's not time travel, so it's
mm,
kinda crazy. But anyway, yeah, watch that movie. Going back to Super Mario Brothers, that movie came out in 1993.
mm,
So, it was like, what, 14, 15, somewhere around there?
mm,
Um, and again, as a kid, I was just like, okay, I know this movie's gonna be bad. It's a
mm.
movie based off of Mario Brothers, which already wasn't like the best game. Well, no, I'm sorry. Like, sorry, don't come for me, everybody. Okay, it was the best game at the time for what it was. However, it just to me, it didn't hit the way I wanted it to. So
Mm,
that's why everybody's about to get mad. But I've never finished the original Mario Brothers game. I got to the end, and I was just like, I died one time, and I was like, "Do I really want to continue on with this?" And I was like, "No." So
Hold
I
on.
stopped.
Hold on. Not to cut off Slim here, but you never beat the first Mario?
I have honestly, and I will say this, and I again will hear a million Greeks cry. I have never beat the first Mario, and again, like I said, I've played it. I've got all the way to Bowser,
Mm,
and he was throwing them hammers,
yep.
spitting that fire,
Mhm.
and I got hit by one hammer, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I got this far. I think I'm good.
one one hammer dictated that
One hammer, and
for Slim.
I beat a whole bunch of all these other Marios. I beat 2, 3, all of these different ones. I beat, Super Nintendo Mario, that
Mm.
one, the Super Mario, whatever. But I have never beat the original. And it is hilarious to me
That is
because I still
crazy.
have no desire to go back and beat the original.
Yeah, you would think because you beat part
Dude,
two
dude,
or you
I
beat part three.
I've never even tried to go back to that world, to World 8.
Oh wow.
Like I've played it. I've even played the lost levels.
You
Uh,
played
I've,
the lost levels
I
and
played the
you,
lost levels,
and you didn't go back.
and I've never gone back in the original. Once
You-
I got hit with that first hammer, once I got hit with that first hammer, and I was like, seriously, I even had extra men left. I had extra men left, and I was like, I hit it, and I was like, I don't even want to play anymore.
I'm literally cracking up over here because I know Slim has heard about the the cheat code where you could kind of like jump on the shell and get the extra men. You can get over to
Yeah,
like 50 men.
yeah, yeah. I've done that
And
like
Chris,
I've done like 2 or 3 times before. I've done that shell like glitch or whatever. I've done
yeah.
that.
That shell glitch is crazy. I don't know how that was even discovered, but
Yeah, you just have just enough screen
yeah,
right in front of a staircase,
yep,
and you got to keep jumping up and down on
exactly,
that shell. Yeah,
exactly. I
yeah,
don't
I've
know
done
how
that.
that even happened,
Yeah.
but um, but jumping off topic here, going back,
Mhm.
uh, you just heard it. He had extra minis, and he still chose not to go
I
back.
chose not. I've still to this
That is
day I
crazy.
have not really beat it, and
But
now I wonder if I ever will beat it because of the simple fact that I I chose not to. I honestly wonder if I ever will beat it or not. So, um, you heard it here first. Some people who I've already told still can't believe it, but yes, I have not. And that's the game that my wife loves. Every Mario game that comes out, she gets that she can. Every game she can get, she will get, and she's played, and she loves Mario.
Mm.
She's beat that game so many times. Still can't believe that I've never beat that game. She's like, I can't believe that you beat all these complex games, but you've never beat Mario.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly,
and I,
exactly. It kind of blows your mind. But you know what? It's funny. It doesn't make sense, but yet it makes sense.
yeah,
Because there's certain games that I just believe it or not, um, believe it or not, I've never beaten Gears of War 3.
well, you didn't like Gears of War 3
Yeah, I
though.
didn't like Gears of War 3, but I still played it and I did make it to the end, you know.
Mhm.
But I just didn't beat it with the our friend who we hope comes to the compact
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the
I got
podcast.
it.
But
Well, we can actually go through and play Gears of War
yeah,
because we can get them on our systems.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we can actually
exactly,
download
exactly.
those. And
But
I can go back and play and beat Mario, but again, there's just I don't know, for something in me has no energy for Mario, for the original Super Mario
I
Brothers.
just don't, and no knock on Nintendo. As a kid, I loved them. I love,
Same here. Nintendo is what
mm,
made my love of gaming flourish.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. Nintendo is
So
what made it happen. So I thank them for that. But I'm not going back. I'm not going back because
yeah.
it's to me Nintendo is for the younger generation.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. In this clip, Black and I have Chris as a guest, and on the show, we actually discuss
one of Black's favorite Black superheroes for Black History Month. I know that's a lot of Black in there. Episode 7, Black History Month special, part 1. Black, tell me your superhero, the
Uh,
superhero that I think we can all agree on because I've had conversations with Chris about this superhero. But go ahead.
well, the superhero I'm rolling with is Blade. Uh, Blade was the first superhero, that of course, like Chris said, looked like us. I remember seeing Blade when it came out in the movies in 1998, August 21st, 1998. I actually saw it on opening weekend, and it 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 was the first time I've ever heard of Blade. I did not know he was a character from Marvel until after I saw the movie, and I started doing my little background, and I'm like, man, this is such an awesome movie, man. It's played by Wesley Snipes. Uh, Blade actually was introduced in Marvel's Tomb of Dracula, number 10, 1973.
Mhm.
And I believe what New Line Cinema produced like 2 sequels in addition to the original film. So I'm pretty
Right,
sure you
yeah.
guys have seen
Oh,
Blade.
I wanna say I still got the DVDs somewhere in this house.
Well, I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're all on Tubi right now. So
Yeah, but if you look to your left, you'll actually see that little glaive. Look underneath look behind that fan right there. Yeah, see,
oh
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
glaive.
that's the one I was like,
Yeah, it's that glaive. So if you've ever seen that movie, it's that thing that Blade in the very first one. He's standing in that circular room and he throws it around and cuts off all the vampire heads.
mm,
It's called a glaive. I have one of those, and I love it. I was like, man, it's funny because when I was giving you all my other the knives and stuff, I was like, yeah, I can't get
yeah,
rid
yeah,
of
yeah. I
that.
actually saw the Blade. I was like, I'm not gonna ask for it, but I hope he gives it to me. But he never did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to keep that one. That one, oh my, it's one of my favorites. But going along with that, Black, yeah, I love Blade. When I first saw the movie, it's funny because I want to say he was on. I saw him on the Amazing Spider, not Amazing Spider-Man. That what was the name of that Spider-Man cartoon that was in the '90s? Uh,
I think it.
Spider-Man and Friends.
no, not Spider-Man and Friends. It was after Spider-Man and Friends. It was the.
I think it was just
It
Spider-Man.
was
If
just
I'm not,
Spider-Man.
yeah, if I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
mistaken. I remember the intro to.
Yeah,
It had a really nice intro to
yeah,
that
yeah,
particular
yeah.
Spider-Man.
So I remember seeing him first on that one,
Mm,
because it was also they had like Michael Morbius, and then he was like they also had like Black Cat and all that.
mm,
So um, that was my first time seeing Blade and finding out about Blade, and then the movie came out, and the movie was just so dope.
yeah,
I really love that scene that I just talked about where
yeah,
he's in there and he throws that thing around and he catches it right back, and then all the other vampires just die, and yeah, he has just so many different like parts in that movie. But going along with my theory, I don't have I ever talked about my movie theories
uh,
about like
No.
about trilogies? Have I said any about Chris? I think you and I have talked about this before, but I have
Mhm.
this theory, it's weird theory, and it doesn't always happen, but for the most part, if you catch most movies, it usually does. Um, I have this theory that when movies are made, the first one is good,
mm,
second one is amazing,
yep,
and then the third one is just like,
yeah.
it's not all that.
Because
And
the third one is a cash grab.
for the most part, yeah. So
Well, that works in games too.
yeah,
If
yeah,
if
Yeah.
yeah.
if you
Yeah.
understand where I'm going with that.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I understand where you're going
Let me
with
guess,
that.
Dead Space.
Oh, and no, no, no.
Oh,
He's talking about
especially
Gear.
Or
Dead Space,
or
especially Dead
or
Space.
or either that or it's gotta be my favorite complaint with oh my god, well, Mass Effect
Mass
3.
Effect, yes. So I knew he was going there. I knew he was going
Yeah.
there. Mass Effect 3, but
But I
but
know
we
I know Black was hinted about Gears 3. That's why. But
Oh,
oh yeah,
here
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
here's
yeah.
the
I
thing
was.
too for all those who are listening. You're probably gonna get our Gears podcast out of order. We recorded it before these episodes, but we had this idea, so we wanted to go ahead and get these out. So you're gonna get this podcast in Black History Month, and then you're gonna get the Gears podcast a little bit late. So if we talk about old stuff, that's why. Um, so, but yeah, going back to my theory, Blade 2 was really good. I
Very
really
good.
loved it. Was
Yes, sir.
so excellent, and
Yes,
and
sir.
the jokes
Yep.
and just man, even oh my gosh, what is his name?
Abraham
Ron Perlman.
Ron
Oh,
Perlman.
Ron
Perlman.
Perlman
Yeah.
was excellent in that. Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh, that was
Yeah,
it
Ron
was just
Perlman was excellent in everything.
yeah
Yeah. Ron Perlman is the big head dude.
yes
He played on Alien
yeah
Resurrection, right?
Mhm.
yeah I think
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
yeah.
Alien Resurrection. Yeah.
So but Wesley Snipes so good, and Mahershala Ali is going to be the next Blade. What are
Cannot
y'all's
wait.
thoughts on that?
I
Oh,
can't wait.
no
But
way! Really?
Yeah,
I did not know
yeah.
that.
yeah. So what were you saying, Chris?
I was saying I can't wait. Oh, and as far as like as far as Blade goes, I've still got the VHS tape and the
Nice.
soundtrack CD.
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see. I think Wesley Snipes has so much of an impact on me that I'm just
Yup.
gonna wait to see um how Mahershala Ali does.
Yeah, because I see where you're going with it,
Mhm.
and I'm like, yeah, Wesley Snipes played that role so good, man.
But you know who else did it good? But still, Wesley Snipes is a dude for me.
Mm.
Did you ever see the Blade TV show on
I just
Spike?
Oh yeah.
I did not
Yep.
see it. I saw who was playing. I was like,
Dude, really?
I don't know about that.
You remember our friend that used to draw really well? I don't want to say his name just right now, but you remember our friend? We had those two guys who drew very well in high school,
Yeah.
and
I know who you're
our,
talking
our
about.
friend B.
Yeah, B.
We used to call him Sticky Fingers. We used to call him, that was his nickname.
He favored him, man.
Yeah. But going back, that's who played Blade was Sticky
He,
Fingers, and
he
he
actually wasn't bad.
and he did really well. I was actually
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. So I'm
Yeah, he was good.
thinking Blade on TV. You're right. It's like no,
I don't
but
really. Yeah, it's a funny thing about spinoffs with me.
Mhm.
I'm like, if they make a TV show out of something, I always feel like it's going to be bad.
right, yeah, exactly. It's almost like you expect it, right?
Yeah. It's almost like
Kind of crazy how things change in a year or two, huh? Especially with that Blade reboot. Anyway, next up we have another guest on the show. It's Ruby Rose discussing the Justice League book Tower of Babel with us and our general overall love of superhero stories. Episode 21, babbling about the Justice League. Yeah. So now, before I go into the movie, I want to get y'all's opinions on the book so far. So, Black, give me some of your thoughts on the book.
Well, the book was pretty good. Yeah, I really don't have any complaints with it. As far as it was a bit. Before you explain to me how it's kind of like in Tower Babbles and it's kind of like in parts
Mm-hmm.
in the book,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a little confusion to try to catch on what was going on at 1st, but then I was able to be like, okay, I could piece it together, so it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
It was all right. The story itself, like I said, it's a pretty sick ordeal, my opinion, and I'm just going at as far as the ending
Mm-hmm.
and the votes. I would have voted to keep Batman included,
Yeah.
and the reason for that is because the simple fact is that if they all get brainwashed again,
Mm-hmm.
who gonna stop him? Batman's the only one that does not have superpowers. If he get brainwashed, the rest of them be able to take him out easily.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if they get brainwashed, they got all these superpowers. You got Superman, you got Wonder Woman, you got all these, and who gonna stop them?
Yeah.
So it'll be difficult. So I sided with, Batman needs to stay because he had every reason to do what he did.
Yeah. So Ruby, what do you think about that whole story itself?
It reminds me why I love comic books because that sounds completely different than the movie that I watched.
Yeah.
But then I also remember, they have to sell the movies to the kids and the toys to the kids, so they're definitely gonna pull back on the violence that was shown. Like to think of a Green Lantern being blind because that is one of his strengths. Ah, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that would depress me if I saw that animated.
Yeah. Well. I'll say this though. They did cut back on some of the violent aspects of it. However,
They
Um,
did have a lot, though.
in
They
the
also
book,
did have
they were
a lot.
actually the villain was actually trying to kill them, and I'm about to go into that differently because in a minute because um the villain was actually a different villain in the comic. I mean, in the comic from the movie. So that's another thing too. I'm just wondering why they chose Vandal Savage over Ra's, because Ra's is like one of the most like craziest methodical villains, and just the things he do, you know, and like I said,
My
it's so weird
my
because he.
thoughts to
Mm,
that, my thoughts to that is like uh Ra's al Ghul is very coded as like a necromancy type cult
Mm-hmm.
leader.
mhm,
Yep.
And I mean, they have presented him animated before, but the
correct, yeah.
vast difference that I've noticed from the comic book versus him animated is that whenever he's animated, it's more like, aha, the greatest detective, I've stopped you again. Like it's a very like silly comic-y style, like I fooled you
Mm,
again, great
well,
detective.
no, well, I gotta stop you there because in the Batman the animated series, that Ra's al Ghul, that's where I was introduced to Ra's al Ghul before I even like really got into it. The different comics I read back when I was younger. I just got whatever comics I could read, so I didn't ever see Ra's
Right.
al Ghul. That animated series, Ra's al Ghul, is so close to the comics. It's crazy, and he's just really methodical and the way he plans stuff. He got plans on top of plans on plans. And actually, I just recently rewatched his first episode on the animated series, and it was still so good. It just holds up so well. So, but yeah, that Ra's al Ghul, yeah, it's just oh my gosh. And
But like in the comic books, especially like the Tower of Babylon,
mhm,
like teasing Batman with like, oh, here are your parents over the Lazarus, here's your chance.
mhm,
That's psychological warfare, like how we were talking about earlier, number one. And
mhm,
number two, I can use these powers to help you, my friend. Like you don't have to, follow these titans that you hang out with.
yeah,
And I don't think DC is comfortable portraying him, at least not in a featured length movie.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
not in that
uh,
aspect. I don't
I
think so.
I'm anxious to see if they actually ever play him like true to form because that would be so good. I would
Oh,
love to see that. Yeah.
I mean,
So.
we finally have an R-rated animated film through Apocalypse, so
Mhm.
hopefully one day we will get, rated R Raj Al Ghul animated or otherwise.
Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you this much, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna go off base. I'm gonna go to the '90s. I know you just mentioned the Batman animated series,
Mhm.
and the best way to mess with Batman is psychologically. That's the
Correct.
best
Oh
way
yeah.
you can really get him.
Mhm.
Because if you remember on Batman animated series in the '90s, the Mad Hatter had him in a fantasy land with his parents.
Yes. That was
Do you
such a good
remember that
episode.
episode?
That episode was so good. I love that
That
episode.
that episode was crazy. And after Batman snapped out of it and he realized what was going on,
Mhm.
he didn't even bother beating up Mad Hatter. He just, why? Why would you do that? That's what Batman
Yeah.
asked
Yeah. That was
him.
such a good episode. As a matter of fact, I think I saw that one. I can't remember if it was before or after the Race Cool episode, but anyway, that was such. I think that's actually that's one of like the first like I don't know, within the first like 10 or something like that. But anyway, that episode was so good because the whole time you're like, what's going on? Like how's his parents alive? And it's like
Mhm.
what?
Yep,
So.
yep. It was like an alternate universe.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, because when it happens, he just wakes up, and then Alfred is there, and everything looks normal. It's like he just got
Mhm.
knocked out, and then he
Yep,
wakes up, and then everything's happened, and then you just see his parents. So,
yep.
so yeah, definitely psychologically is the best way to actually mess with him. Matter of fact, talking about psychologically, that's another book I gotta get you to check out. It's called Heroes in Crisis. I like that one. I picked it up on a whim when I was in Seattle, and I saw it, and I really like that book. Um, so uh going into it, actually, Ruby, you said something that I agree with though. That stories like this is one of the things that I love most about reading comics, because they have just so many different twists and turns, and that's another reason why Kingdom Come is one of my favorite books as well.
Hmm.
Just because of the different twists and turns that actually happen within that book, how you see all these heroes, you don't know who's on what side or whatever, and just yeah, the three factions of heroes that are fighting against each other, and how they're basically going to blow up the world, and oh man, that was such a good book. But anyway,
I feel like a lot of the DC animated movies could be 10 times better if they were a little bit truer to the source material. But at the same time, again,
hmm
they're trying to sell toys to kids. They're trying
right,
to sell posters and all that other stuff. It's kind of hard to have
yes, yeah,
rated R movies like Japan.
that's true, that's true, that is so true, so true. In this final clip, me and Black view the trailer for the new Gears of War game that was announced during the Xbox Showcase 2024, and just our overall love of the game Gears of War, which is kind of like partially the inspiration for this podcast. Here's Xbox Showcase review. Oh, excuse me, Xbox Showcase 2024 review. All right. So, there's a couple other games, but let's go ahead into the one game that both of us were excited for. Gears of War E-Day.
Uh-huh.
Man, you know what? Let me play that trailer really quick because that game, oh my gosh. That trailer itself, the fight. Oh yeah, here it is right here. Oh. And it says something about war. I meant to see what that thing was, but look at that. Coming through the wall. Marcus and the Locust. That's like and it looks so much clearer than, of course it is because it's on the new series, the new generation consoles. It's so good. Look how detailed. Look at these details. And the light. This is my part right here. I like this part coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I watched this trailer. Here it is, the TV. Wow.
Your own TV.
He hits him with that TV. So, this is going to be a part that I don't like, though. But I'll say that once the trailer's over. Yeah. Man.
Done.
That was
Done.
That was
Done.
so dope.
Done.
The way he took that head off was just insane. Man, what? That True Gears fashion. That's what this trailer is giving us right now. It's like, okay, he just got finished killing the locust, and then all of a sudden the floor starts shaking. You're like, what is this? And here it is. The brothers are reunited.
Gone, boy. Gone.
Yeah. Look at that. I love it. I love it. And I mean, they make them look so different, but then again, of course they look different because they're younger. This is E-Day. This is before they're extra hardened, It's probably after the Pendulum Wars, by the way, too.
Yeah.
E-Day. That was so good. I love that. And the fact that, all you just see, he's hanging on by a thread, and you just see the arm coming.
Mm-hmm. I knew it was Dom. The moment he caught him, I knew it was Dom. I knew it.
Exactly. Yes. Oh my gosh, man. It was so good, so good. But what I was going to say is part of the thing that I'm not looking forward to is not having the buzzsaw Lancer. So unfortunately, it looks like because it's E-Day, they haven't put the saws on the Lancers yet, and that's like with Gears of War Judgment. Through most of Judgment, you have just a regular retro Lancer, and I just like those retro Lancers. They pack more of a punch, but like the control is harder, and then just the way you got to use the knife at the end, the bayonet at the end. I'm just not. That is the one thing I can say that I am not a fan of in Gears. I mean, it's okay and it's cool, but out of my choices, my choice. About my choices, I'm gonna have a regular Lancer, a Botox, and I'm gonna have a sniper rifle on my back.
Oh yeah,
So,
oh yeah. Well, the Botox both of us use, so I know all about that. You know me, I like exploding heads. you know.
Yeah, of
But you
course,
know,
of
I'm
course.
a yeah,
You like taking those explosions away from other people.
yeah. Hey, yeah, you know me. I take a boom shot all day long.
Right, right.
You know, just
So,
disintegrate 'em.
yeah. Tell me your thoughts about the Gears trailer that you just saw.
Ecstatic. My thoughts is this is they're getting back to now. You notice it's not Gears, it's Gears of War. E-Day. Now the
Yeah.
emphasis, and I was looking all online, at the reaction, and they were like, "Yeah, you notice that it says Gears of War, not Gears," and that's when
Hmm.
you know they're taking it all the way back, all the way
Yeah.
back, because I think they listen to the fans. The
Yeah.
fans don't
Yeah.
want the fans don't want new characters and the kids and stuff like that. To me, the fans want, man, a Gears of War without Marcus Phoenix, or any type of Gears without Marcus Phoenix is I mean, it's just it's unheard of. Some games you can't continue to go on without that. When that character dies, that game dies. You know
Correct.
that's how I
Correct.
felt about Mass Effect. They tried to make Mass Effect Andromeda with some other guy. I believe his last name was Stryker or something like that. But that game
Mhm.
bombed. Mass Effect is Shepard. That's who he is. And
Yeah.
this Gears of War the same way. There's no Gears of War without the core people, starting with Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah. So, yeah, it definitely is not Gears of War without Marcus Phoenix, and you know, having JD. Yeah, I see what they were trying to do. They were trying
hmm
to make JD like his dad, but he was nothing like Marcus.
He was
And
nothing like Marcus.
you know, he definitely wasn't. And that was a good thing about 4 and 5 is they ended up having Marcus in it, and he was kind of showing them the ropes, but he was still too hardcore for them, man. He was just way
hmm
hardcore. And
hmm
and I mean, those kids, which is basically what they are, they weren't hardened by the wars that they have fought before. So
You just
yeah,
hit the nail on the head.
yeah,
What you just said is so important when you're talking about, like, I mean, they were kids. They haven't seen what Marcus and Dom and Coltrane and Baird, they haven't seen that. They don't even know, they haven't seen it. And it
yeah.
was kind of hard it was a hard sell. I like the games though. I like 4 and 5, especially
Oh
5.
yeah, oh, yeah. They were still
Yeah,
great games. Oh
they were
yeah,
still great games, but
definitely look like that.
it just didn't hit the same. I'm sorry, it just didn't.
Yeah. So I'm anxious to see how they go about it, how it starts, like the process, because
Oh
it's
yeah.
set during the whole thing is emergence day, the whole day,
hmm
so
hmm
14 years before the original game. So, you know, seeing all the locusts come out the ground, you're gonna see more actual civilians most likely,
Yep.
so that's gonna be just so crazy, and I wonder if you're gonna end up finding out anything about the locust queen there, if you're gonna find out anything about Queen Mara at that point or not, or you know, I honestly I can't wait to see what they do in that terms for real, because it's there's so many different places they can actually take that, you know.
Yeah.
So, it looks like it's here though. It's at Blur Studios though. It's not Epic anymore. So
Oh really?
that's a different. Yeah, it looks like it's a different studio. But then again, too, I mean, Blur might have had them, and I just didn't know. So they might have changed their
I
name or something. I don't know.
No, I think it's always been, well, I don't know. That's a little weird. Mm,
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's what it says. It says that they teamed up with Blur Studio to forge visually stunning trailer. So,
Could it be that Epic teamed
I
up with
wonder if
Blur?
that's just for the trailer. Probably could be for the trailer. They might still be at Epic. I don't know, but we'll see.
Well,
But
either
anyway,
which way.
yeah.
Either which
As
way.
long as the game is still dope, right?
Yeah, yeah. As long as the game is gangster, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
So, all right, and that's all we have. So, we hope you enjoyed this show. We wanted to thank you for your support and continuing to listen to us. We'll be back next time with new content, and we'll be finishing up our second season soon. If you want to reach out or suggest games, or just kind of give us some critiques or anything like that, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at toldmywifepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us, you can hit us up on Instagram, Told My Wife Podcast, at Told My Wife Podcast. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube as well. Just look us up. I told my wife I'm paying bills. You can also actually find all of our platforms if you go to our link tree, just backslash Told My Wife Podcast. So for now, I'm Slim, and on behalf of Black, I'd like to say thanks for listening.